Can a house die? A question that may seem absurd at first glance, yet it's one that's been seriously pondered and researched by Marianne Hem Eriksson, a postdoc at the University of Oslo's Department of Archaeology, Conservation and History. Eriksson has spent a significant amount of time investigating the peculiar phenomena of the deaths and burials of Scandinavian longhouses. These structures, which in essence were the heart of Viking households, were not merely abandoned or allowed to decay naturally. Instead, they were ceremoniously cremated and buried, much like a beloved family member. Eriksson's research led her to 7 distinct house burials from the Iron Age in Scandinavia, scattered across 5 different locations: Hogom in Sweden, Ullenthaug in Rogaland, Brista in Uppland, Sweden, Jarlsberg in Vestfold, and Engelaug in Hedmark. Her findings challenged the long-held assumption that burial mounds always signified human death. Instead, she proposed that these mounds could potentially mark the cremation and burial of a house within Viking society. To truly understand the significance of this practice, one must first comprehend what living in a typical Viking longhouse was like. As described by Robin Whitlock, these structures were long, bustling, and probably quite chaotic. Multiple families, along with their animals, resided within the same house. The walls were made from wooden poles with wattle and daub infilling, and the roof was crafted from thatch or wooden shingles. The fire, a source of heat and light, burned continuously, filling the house with smoke, as there were no chimneys. These longhouses were more than mere shelters. They were the backdrop of daily life, a shared space where meals were prepared, stories were told, and children were raised. They were a tangible representation of a family's wealth and social status. The size and construction of a longhouse could reveal much about its inhabitants. So, can a house die? If we consider the perspective of the Vikings, the answer seems to tilt towards a resounding yes. Drawing parallels from various cultures, Eriksson explains that to people in Madagascar, a house has its own life cycle. It is born, it lives, it grows old, and it dies. The Batamaliba people of West Africa perform rites of passage for their houses, similar to those they perform for humans. Upon completion of the house, they conduct a ritual to kill the house, making it habitable for people. In the context of these diverse cultural beliefs, the Viking practice of burning and burying their houses becomes less bizarre and more a poignant testament to their deep connection to their homes. The cremation and burial of a longhouse might have been a way for the Vikings to honor the structure that had provided them shelter, warmth, and a space to form and nurture social bonds. In their view, the house was not an inanimate object, but a living entity deserving of a respectful send-off at the end of its life. In essence, the Viking practice of cremating and burying their houses is a fascinating example of how cultural beliefs and practices can transform our perception of inanimate objects. It challenges us to rethink our own relationships with our homes, prompting us to consider whether they are merely structures of wood and stone, or if they too possess a life and spirit of their own.
Caught in the thrill of the game? Dive deeper with us. Hit subscribe to be the first to catch our latest content. To our loyal subscribers, your support is invaluable. Your engagement, likes, comments, shares propels us to push the boundaries. So immerse yourself, engage, and inspire us to continually evolve. Thank you for being part of our journey.